Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Wow, we can't get a day of peace, Dallas. I feel like every day that goes by, one of our teams is making a move, and we got to just hop back in the studio and talk about it. We got Wilson Contreras on the move. Actually, I don't know what's going on between Craig Breslow and Chaim Bloom, but they can't stop making deals with each other. Brendan Donovan.
We got a love affair going on?
It feels like that way.
Just a couple of brainiacs getting after it with each other?
Couple nerds. Nerd synergy is what they call it.
Love that.
But I almost said Oakland again, but I didn't do it. The A's, the Sacramento A's, have gone out and made themselves a little bit of noise in the last 24 hours since our last meeting on this podcast. They've gone out and acquired Jeff McNeil, starting 9 alumni Jeff McNeil.
They have.
This deal, well, I think it was kind of like a foregone conclusion that McNeil was going to get dealt. I personally did not have the A's on my McNeil bingo board. I didn't, admittedly. He has 1 year left at $15,750,000, and then in 2027, he has a team option for the same rate with a $2 million buyout. So the A's are assuming about, call it $18 million for Jeff McNeil.
Well, and they're going to get help. They get help from the Mets.
Okay, how much are the Mets sending over?
I believe is it 8 mil, 5 mil, 8 mil, somewhere in there?
All right, so 10 million for Jeff McNeil, call it.
Yeah, and look, I had some idiot this morning. I was like, did you really just cite average in left field to analyze this deal? And I even prefaced it, and I said this. Look, I said this to some folks who were kind of curious about the player and, what we're getting in the clubhouse, blah, blah, blah. I jokingly said, the better, or I said the further away from Francisco Lindor that Jeff McNeil got, the better player he was. And I said, because when you put him out in center field, he hit 294. When you put him in the left field, a little closer to Lindor, he hit 261, but still kind of far away. But you put him in second, he hit 215. That's the tongue in cheek. Like, no, that's real. That's how I'm contextualizing the joke. That's the point. And now the idea is him being even farther away from Francisco Lindor, meaning on the West Coast and not the East Coast, about as far away as you could get from the dude. Maybe he'd be even better, right? That's the humor in that. And some people, I guess, just wake up and are stupid or choose stupidity, which that's a whole nother conversation. But the idea is you're getting help financially from the Mets. Mm-hmm. You have a player who is an established big leaguer. You have a player who can put the bat on the baseball. You have the player who can be serviceable defensively. And you have a player who has versatility, meaning infield and outfield possibilities. The Athletics, unfortunately, last year, boys, second base was the worst position production-wise in the lineup. Offensively, defensively, it was just not good. There was a void there. And you can say that regarding the American League. You can say that regarding baseball. I believe they were third in all of baseball, or lower third, so 27th in terms of production out of the second base position. So now you have somebody that you can kind of plug in and stabilize that, while maybe there's some other guys who are battling it out for looks at that spot, but maybe some of those guys end up shifting over and playing a different role and battling it out in a different position. But the idea is you have plugged a hole and you have checked multiple boxes that you were looking to check. If you're getting financial help from the team they're coming from, and this is a guy that you feel confident in putting into your lineup because of what else you have in that lineup, I'm telling you right now, there's arguments for this lineup being the best lineup in the division, if not one of the best lineups in baseball. They're those are facts, straight up facts. And you now have a guy who, as I said, can start to help get that engine running early, depending on where you want to put him in the lineup. I mean, we've seen Mark Kotze slap Kurtzy at the top of the lineup, Langoliers at the top of the lineup, Lawrence Butler at the top of the lineup. I mean, There's options. So wherever you want to see him plugged in and however you think that can unfold, those decisions are going to be made, and we're going to get a feel for that throughout spring training, I'm sure, because you're going to get a lot of different looks at a lot of different lineups. That's something the Athletics have done historically too, is switch lineups up. I mean, we're running different looks out there damn near every day. And I think that just by virtue of, hey, righty starting the ball game off, Nick Kurtz might be hitting leadoff. If it's a lefty, you might get Bangaliers. So that's just kind of how that's going. But in terms of being able to check boxes and fill voids, this was a fantastic move for the Athletics. Now, what we'll talk about is, and what I've seen is worry about the impact on the clubhouse. This dude's going to lead the team in punches thrown in the clubhouse, and no, he won't. No, he won't. I can tell you that. No, he won't. And if that were ever to get to that point, that would be a one and done. That situation would resolve itself very quickly. So I also think that from a McNeil's perspective, a brand new place, which, look, he's playing 81 games in a minor league ballpark. That is what it is. But he's also going to be around a completely different group of guys, and maybe not the same expectation and the pressure from the market that he's leaving. That just doesn't exist in the market that he's coming to, right? He's not going to have the sort of scrum that he's got to deal with day in and day out in New York. That's just not the case. So you alleviate pressure in that regard, and now there's other guys in this lineup, much like the one he was in, that are expected to do the heavy lifting. So really, all Jeff McNeil is being asked to do right now is be the same player that it looks like he is in terms of putting the bat on the ball, plate discipline, and playing sound defense if you can at second base, and let the rest of the boys do the work.
By the way, the Mets paid it down to $12 million. They sent over $5,750,000. But it's, if you want to get technical about it, the A's did have to pay him $500,000 as a assignment bonus. He gets $500K to be paid by the receiving team if he gets traded. So
yeah. So again, we're talking about a guy. Yeah, we're talking about a guy who's in the 89th percentile in terms of whiff rate, 94th percentile in terms of strikeout rate, 76th percentile walk rate. Like, what we'll take that. We will take that in terms of how he's going to behave defensively in the position that he's manning right now, above average. We'll take that. I don't like, if the downside is you don't like the dude's attitude and he's no longer going to be in the clubhouse where his attitude was an issue, and he's coming to a clubhouse where I'm talking bro, you got over half the fucking roster has spent their offseason in Hawaii going to each other's weddings. Like, these dudes, they are boys. Like, that's just the vibe, man. That's just the vibe. So you're either gonna come over and get right, or you're gonna get left. And left is left behind real fucking quick. Straight up. So I think it's an opportunity for Jeff McNeil. Look, am I asking for a career resurgence and we want to see him take off and we're looking to, extend him in a 5-year deal after the first 3 months of the season because he's been such a fantastic fit? Well, that's a pipe dream. No one's asking for that. I mean, it'd be great if the production was there and everything meshed and blended wonderfully, and the idea of a team option becomes something that you're starting to kick around later down the line because the production has sustained itself and this is a good fit. Look, there's a lot of sweet golf courses in Northern California, I can tell you that. Jeff McNeil is a fucking stick, by the way. So, side note, they got great golf in Florida too during spring training. Pretty solid golf in Arizona, I might add. That's where he'll be spending this camp. So, I think there's just a lot of positives to take away from this. And when I say positives, I mean what the team needs, the help that the team is getting in this deal, and what they're asking of this player.
I mean, the expectation is that he's probably the 7th best offensive player on the team, right?
Perfect.
Oh, great. Yeah. I mean, so the bar is pretty low. And as you laid out, the level of production that they received last season at the position that he'll primarily play was pretty low. So I think, self-evidently a low-risk proposition, I think, for the A's, and one that I think the bar is pretty low for him to be able to improve upon what they did. I mean, from the Mets side, I do think like there's, it's not a change from what they've done, but now we have like between Alonso, Nimmo, and Edwin Diaz, and now McNeil, you have like a complete turning of the page from, the previous era to whatever era they represent. Nobody on the team, on the roster has been there prior to 2020. So, this is, I don't know if it's Lindor's team, but he's now, the longest standing member who's a high impact player at this point, which I think is noteworthy, even if we all sort of expected this at some point.
And I'll leave that to Mets fans to decide, because that's not my team, right? That's none of our teams. If you want Lindor to be the face of your franchise, or you want to consider him that, knock yourself out. You want to give that to Soto, knock yourself out. I could care less one way or the other. But the idea is, this is what Mets fans were responding with, was this core did not win.
Yeah.
This core did not give us what we wanted. So while it's tough to see these guys go because we do like them as players, hey, idiots, on Baseball is Dead, the core didn't win. What the fuck? Get them out of here. All right. They're gone. They're gone. So now is what's happening in terms of plugging those holes, and I call them holes because there's players that you have to put in their position once those players leave town. Is the plugging of those holes satisfactory to you? Are you okay with that? Does it look like this new core or this new group is going to be more competitive than what you thought this other core was capable of? Because what you thought they were capable of and what they did, those are two different things. And all we've heard from Mets fans is they didn't win. And there's no arguing that. There's no pushback there. You're right. They didn't win. We've seen collapse. We've seen a lot of underproduction. Like, we've seen a lot go wrong with that group. And so now, as you just pointed out, Jayhay, everybody that had been there for 10 plus years.
Yeah. Gone.
I kind of want to call Clem, because I think that the Mets side of this is more interesting than the A's side. No offense.
Well, no, I mean, what are the Mets getting though? Like, you know what I mean? They're getting a guy who had I think 15 innings in the Dominican League.
Clean slate, which I think is interesting.
Well, call him. Well, that's. Yeah, I mean, call him, because that would be. His response to this.
Know, are they excited to be able to turn the page, or is this sad, or is it a reflection of?
I got to believe they're excited. I got to believe, based on the vibe that the Mets fans are putting out there, this whole core being gone, it's what they wanted.
Oh, Rocket! Merry Christmas.
He might be mad. I don't know. It's not what you think, Clem.
No, Clem.
It's not what you think. Let me explain.
I just threw on Billy Joel's Greatest Hits vinyl. Piano Man just started like 20 seconds ago, and I was going to my happy place. Captain Jack was going to take me home tonight. Mm-hmm. And then I get a call from The Rock. And so take me to misery. Let's go. Go to the Upside Down. What are we doing, Jack?
I don't want to make you miserable. I just have a couple questions for you, because this is a compliment to you, where Jeff McNeil gets traded. Dallas is going to go on some diatribe for 20 minutes about Jeff McNeil and the swinging A's and best lineup in baseball now and yada, yada. But I think the more interesting side of this is the Mets side of things. I want to know, are Mets fans excited to turn the page and kind of just start building towards the next core of the Mets? Or is this like, we're closing a chapter that, there's some happy moments, but there's no championship. Like, we're looking at this as like a failure, and we're pulling the plug on something that didn't quite work. Like, where are Mets fans right now in terms of like, McNeil's gone, Alonso's gone, Edwin Diaz is gone. It's Nimmo's gone. It's a new regime now.
Yeah. So McNeil was kind of the last guy out the door out of like that core that we had. And honestly, he probably been the first one out the door if the fans could have pushed him. But like, I think you have two kinds of fans right now for Mets fans. You have the guys like our boy KFC, who was like, I think his exact words was "Adi fucking os." That's how he said it. And because like everyone loved Jeff, he won the batting title. There's something different when a guy not only hits for good average, but he has a weird bat. Like, it looks like Jeff carved that bat out. He didn't have the nub on it when he first started, and he kind of came out of nowhere and just kept hitting. And he's a homegrown guy, so we always loved him. And when he was, you forget about it now, but when he first started, his defense, not only at second, but in the outfield, he had some like game-winning plays on defense, and he was such a Swiss Army knife. It was incredible. But there would be like the tantrums when he hit the lazy fly ball to the first. I've seen this play a million times, and he throws the helmet on the ground. And it's like, that guy cares at least, which sometimes you hear certain players don't care. You knew Jeff cared. But then it's like, he kind of would grate you because, it went from batting champion and in the 300s to like basically a 240 hitter the last couple of years. The defense, he's getting older like all of us, slowing down. And I think most Mets fans had kind of come to peace with Jeff being like, it's time to move on from McNeil. They were saying that, in August. But the fact it was like he came after all the other people, it doesn't hurt as much. Listen, I'm a father. I say you love all your kids the same. But I like certain ones more than others, depending on what they've been doing for me lately. That's just a fact of life. And Jeff was kind of the kid that had been like, coming home late, crashed the car a couple times, leaves the toilet seat up, does all that stuff. So he was kind of driving us crazy by the end. But like, I do want Mets fans to like, if there's any of the, the Twitter videos out or whatever, like watch some of those early days. Like the guy was fun. You liked him. And then at some point, it also came to the point where it felt like you had to choose between McNeil and Lindor, because you hear like basically annually, there was a ball between Jeff and Lindor, and we had the infamous raccoon story and all that kind of stuff. So it was time for Jeff. I do think a lot of fans were just so over this core, and he was the easiest to let go of because he didn't, have the numbers of Pete, and he didn't have like the happy-go-lucky demeanor of a Nemo, and he wasn't Mr. Trumpet. But at the same point, like he delivered. But you see the thing, like they never won anything, so it's like at the same point, the best memory you could have is obviously the 24 run to the NLCS Game 6. You get as far as you can against the Dodgers, but like other than that, almost every other season was like an abject failure or disappointment. Even 22, you play your butts off. The Braves basically match you win for win, and then you're losing in 3 games to the Padres, and you're calling out a guy for, stuff on his ears. So it's like, let's just move on. We just have to turn the page. This was the last page, like you said. It's a little like beaten up, and you're not going to miss it. I hope Dallas, you a golfer? I feel like you and Jeff go out on the links, get 18 there. I think you guys have a great time together out there.
Clem, I you know what? I am a golfer, and I have already highlighted that there's many a great course in Florida. There are many spectacular courses in Arizona where he will be spending time in camp this year. So yes, I've already highlighted that. We had Jeff on years back. He's an absolute stick. He's like a +6 or something like that. Like he's a ridiculous golfer. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Side note, on the road, that's going to be great fun. I highlighted this, and I jokingly said this a couple weeks ago, and I laughed at the idea that, just looking at the numbers, because of his relationship with Francisco Lindor and all the noise that has gone on between those two, that the further away that he got from Lindor, the better player he was. And I highlighted just a basic batting average statistic where he was at in center field and where he was at in left field, and then what he produced as a second baseman, being the double play partner of Lindor, and how that just did not work out at all, right? You go from 294 in center field, Clem, which was as far away as he could get from Lindor, and then moves a little closer in left field, average goes down, it's 261, and then at second base, where he's right next to him, like in shouting distance, it's 215. So it's obviously tongue-in-cheek, but now he's on the West Coast. Couldn't be farther away from the dude if he tried. Like he could go to Seattle, and that would be the farthest he could get, but next best stop is Sacramento. So with that being said, I was curious, was it just the attitude? Was it just the friction that, and I'll even call it perceived friction, because I'll say this much. Did my phone start to ring a little? And did my text message line start to blow up a little with, hey, here's what you're getting. Hey, just be aware of. Hey, yes, it did. And it was nothing that I wasn't aware of. But from a fan perspective, somebody who lives and breathes every smile and every grimace that the Mets bring to your face, what do you think we're getting in McNeil?
Yeah, again, it's like when they banned the shift, we were like, oh, now we have a 400 hitter. And instead he became a 240. So it's like what have you done for me lately? But that's, 2 full seasons. And it's like, you can be, being the guy, the angry guy, and, the guy who's, passionate. When you're passionate when you're winning, right? And when you're losing, you're the grumpy guy. Baker Mayfield kind of said the same thing. He goes, I was doing the same thing when I was hurt in Cleveland and I stunk. Everyone hated me and I was brash and I was, an idiot. And now I do it in Tampa and I'm an MVP candidate. Everyone says, oh, this guy's a leader. He's a fun guy. He gets everyone going. And McNeil kind of suffers from that. And I don't think New York's an easy place to live. Maybe going to Sacramento and kind of just being out of the line. Like, if Jeff McNeil hits 300 by some chance next year, I'm not going to be surprised, and I'm not going to be unhappy. I'm rooting for him to do well. I truly am. But it's like, whatever is going on here, man, and the last couple of years, it's like it just had to end. It just we had to move on. I think he had to move on, and I think it's a win for everyone around, including you guys.
And that was my take, and this is what I just said, was Mets fans, I believe, have rightfully assessed this situation as, hey, our core did nothing for us. Our core, we love them. They were great. We had great moments, but we didn't get a ring. And if the core is only getting older and the friction seems to only be getting louder, then at some point in time, we got to make moves. And that's kind of what has happened here. And you have quite literally taken the core. And I mean, I don't want to call it a complete heart transplant, but that's kind of what is going on now. Is that a fair assessment? Because when you lose Pedro Alonso, you lose trumpets, you lose Nimmo, and now McNeil swinging his homemade bat. Like when you lose all of that, is it fair to say that the transplant, I don't want to say it's complete, but one heart is out of the chest? Are you happy? Are Mets fans happy with the new heart or the new pieces of the heart that are being put together and hopefully implanted back in?
Yes, I am happy because it had to be done. And that core for the 22 season, which, again, so many Mets fans didn't enjoy in the moment, which I pleaded with them every week. Guys, we're a 100-win team, no hitters, crazy comebacks, beat the Phillies like a drum for that entire year. And the Braves we're just on another pace. I've never seen anything like it, basically, maybe since those Yankee dynasties. And then 24, magical OMG run. But 21 was not a fun end of the season. The Lindor and Baez booing the crowd. Remember that?
Yeah.
23. Most miserable season of my life as a Mets fan. And I understand the weight that carries, those words, right? And then the baseball guy said, well, buddy, let me tell you about what 25 is going to be. You're going to have fun those first month and a half. It was basically an inverse of 24. We started hot instead of cold. And then we just were the worst team in baseball, or third worst team in baseball for the last 4 months of the season. And by the end of 25, I said, I can not wait for baseball season to be over. And I don't really ever say that. So the core, the guys who were the faces of those seasons, it had to get done. And I think the biggest problem Mets fans had and why we were so hurt and angry the last week or so or month, and David Stearns has taken just shrapnel online constantly, the timing was terrible. Diaz was the one guy I think everyone was like, we got to have him back. And that was the first domino to fall. And then 24 hours later, Pete's gone, and we're like, wait a minute. And that was after Nimmo been traded, and everyone was like, that was weird, but I could kind of see. But then it was Diaz, Pete, 24 hours. Even Rocket knew, don't call Clem, because this is not, it was a time for mourning, basically. And I was looking at my phone, I go, this guy he has the nerve. And then the worst part about it is, I got my guy, the Nugget Chef, and he just hits me with, he knows, if it bleeds, it leads. This guy's just hitting me with every Met guy. Anyone we get stinks. Everyone we get rid of is great. And I'm just like, man, even the Jayhay kid is just crushing us right now. So all you guys, they just renamed the podcast Clem is Dead, because you guys are trying to kill me. I swear.
Well, cheer up, Clem, because I have sided with Mets fans in regard to wanting something new to happen. I understand. I get it. You have to have those tough conversations with your kids sometimes, right? And there's going to be a point in time where you got to tell them, look, you're off the insurance. You got to pay your own phone bill, and you can't live here anymore. Like, this is just how this is going to go. Mm-hmm. And I want you to succeed. It's just not going to happen here in my house any longer. You're going to have to succeed over there with maybe some more roommates, some different roommates. But you and I, we're no longer roommates. So I can appreciate your perspective. I can appreciate the Mets fan base. working their way through this emotionally, because it's not easy to do when you say goodbye to such a large part of what have been many summers for Mets fans.
I appreciate it, man. We're trying to put on a brave face right now, and like this is the thing about McNeil too. It's like once we knew we thought he'd be the first domino to fall. He was the last, I think, out of all of them, and now it's like, all right, Dave. All right, Uncle Stevie. You guys may not be getting the big ticket items. Might be not typing in the Kyle Tucker section of the store. We still need like players. We still need. I can't be having Polanco playing 162 at first base because honestly, he's not going to play that. Which is the thing about Pete. We forget he was 160 every game. But it's like start giving us we'll start opening some presents under our tree. We're putting presents under everyone else's tree. At some point, you got to have presents under your tree that you can open. And I'm hoping that's coming either in terms of a free agency signing, some trades, whatever it may be. I think we just had an awful break in terms of the timing of everything. And honestly, if Stearns has to see the way the markets pan out, maybe that helps us in the future and we're able to get some short-term deals, big money short-term. We don't know what the CBA is going to look like. I can live with that all. But again, if I can help my friend Dallas, he gets a golfing buddy on the road trips and, maybe a 300 hitter, guy can play a bunch of, the A's love guys, they can plug in a bunch of places. That's straight out of Billy Dean's wet dream to have something like that. So I'm happy for you guys. I listen, Rocket. I saw the Marte. I don't want to tell Marte. I don't want any beef on this side. No heat. I don't want any smoke. All right.
No heat. Yeah, I don't trust that we'll pull the trigger on that anyway. But like, we don't need competition for it. We need the as least amount of teams involved as possible because we're going to be up there offering pennies on the dollar, and we need to make that look good.
Understandable. And everyone's like, hey, this is my corner, tread lightly kind of stuff, right? You're talking Heisenberg. Understand. I kind of thought we were going after Contreras. I thought that was our guy. You guys got him. At some point, we're going to have to make a move because we need presence under the tree at some point that we can start believing in an actual team to compete. And listen, I'm sure I feel like we do this every year. It's like, all right, Brewers, third place team. And then we're the Brewers, 95 wins, 100, whatever it may be. If that's what Stearns is going to do here with the Uncle Stevie pocketbook to maybe make it a little juiced up, great. I am smart enough to know how dumb I am. And that's why it's like at the end of the year or at the beginning of the season, I'm going to be like, all right, it's out there. It may not look good, but I don't ever look at the Brewers and be like, those guys are world beaters. And then Sam Frelick is running crazy. And, there's all these guys, Bryce and guys I've never heard of. Reese Hoskins gets picked up off the scrap heap and he's hitting bombs. So it's like, I'm smart enough to know how dumb I am and how smart these guys who get paid millions to do what they do. I'm just going to have to, I hate to say it because I hate Philadelphia, trust the process here.
Wow. Last thing, Clem, because I didn't call you when Pete signed with the Orioles out of respect, but now that we've given it some time to breathe, did you see what I saw at the press conference where I was like, you are trying so hard to convince yourself that what you're saying is something that you believe. Like, there's no way. You're like, where I want to raise my family? Baltimore. Like, no one's ever said that. Anyone with money has never said that. So, like, was it awkward for you to watch the press conference?
So you're insinuating I watched the press conference? I wasn't even on. So I'm like, let's not even go on Twitter and get the clips right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, I love The Wire. It's my favorite show ever. Still would not want to even. I don't think I would gladly not even visit Baltimore. I'd go to Camden Yards maybe, but I'll stay happily in my little part of the New York suburbs up here in Winterfell. Pete is a big dumb animal. That's what I love him. He's a big meatball. The corniness, you're going to get that with him, and the stuff you don't really believe. And he believed it though in his heart. There was him and KFC had a run years ago. Remember?
I remember that.
He wanted to finish a double a rain delay against the Cardinals, and we're like, Pete, we're Mets fans. You're gonna lose the game. And what happens? They take it off, pick up the dart. Mets go out, lose the game, and they had this big back and forth.
I remember that.
And this is. I didn't see the press conference. I saw some of the quotes about how he has a kid named his son Teddy after a bear. I'm like, that's exactly what Pete Alonso would do. I love the guy. But I saw I think it was yesterday. He had a quote where he said, it was just a one game. We were out of the playoffs by one game. And I'm like, Pete, we were a team that was sinking for 4 months straight, and we couldn't win one game against the Marlins, who were dead. And it's like, you can't just keep saying one game, man, but that's Pete. Like, he's like a big, lovable monster who can hit 50 home runs, but he just drives you crazy with some of the stuff he says. So I truly do. Another guy, he's going to hit the crap out of the ball in Baltimore. But no, not, I won't be rooting against you guys, but I hope he crushes the Yankees there. Like, more power to Pete. I truly, truly think that. So 50 home runs, great. Let him, if he could hit the warehouse a couple times, go for it. But it was like, just have to end it with Pete, because you start seeing some of the defensive stuff, and I'm like, yeah, he drove us crazy with that too. But 160 games and 40 home runs, those guys aren't easy to replace.
Clem, Merry Christmas. Get back to Billy Joel. It's always great to hear your voice and learn from your perspective. It's why I call you every single time, because I know that you're going to shoot me straight on the Met situation. I
will, and I say that. I feel like every time, like, hopefully next time on better terms. I'm trying, like, honestly, like, Mr. Met signs with the Dodgers tomorrow. Like, that's kind of what we're looking at. Like, we are living in fear of something like that right now. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, fellas, and may get some presents under your tree the next few weeks as well.
You too, Clem.
All right, love you, Clem. Thank you.
Have a good one, Clem.
Love you guys too. Be good. Take care.
I love Clem. He's the best.
All right, welcome into a very special guest. We go way back. Me and Adnan Virk, the host of mini MLB Tonight on MLB Network, NHL Network. He is the host of Cinephile, the most successful and acclaimed movie podcast in the world, award-winning, and a good friend to, well, all three of us on the podcast. You work with Jared now. You've worked with me in Dallas, so it's very nice to have you in. Thank you for joining us.
Listen, I'm thrilled to be here. I just want to do memory lane talk before whatever you guys actually want to talk to me about. I actually, something in my eye. It looks like I'm tearing up. I swear I'm not. I want to talk first about Jayhay. Go Birds, back-to-back NFC East champions for the first time in 20 years. How about them Eagles? I saw Barry Larkin at the winter meetings, and first thing I said to him was, like, I want to talk about the Fireball Express, which is a story for another time, but one of Jayhay's better moments. You know, the show that we're doing now with Jared and these insiders have been amazing, but I'm like, so much of that was you did that years ago. That was Baseball Tonight, the Thursday show with Kirchen and Buster and Jason Stark. And now at MLB Network, they're like, we should do a show with insiders. I'm like, yeah, I think Justin Havens did this show in 2016. But I love it. We'll get Carabas and Sherman and Danny Wexelman. It'll be awesome. So it's been great, buddy, seeing you and all your success. It's great to be with Jared, obviously talking Red Sox and all things baseball. Now to the Dallas Braden conversations. I just told my wife, and she goes, man, I love that guy. And you want to know why she loves Dallas Braden? Not like because she watches baseball, not because she was a fan of his playing, although she is from the Bay Area. But the reason why is because when I turned 40, she got surprise birthday videos from all my friends. And the Dallas video to this day will still make her cry of laughter. Dallas sent a video of like a sweatshirt of himself. And like the camera, I think, was on his face talking, and just the camera angle at all. She goes, that guy is unbelievable. I'm like, yeah, well, your new favorite now, Dallas Braden. And also, more importantly, the story, when we had Krista, who's a wonderful, lovely gal. Carabas, she's dressed up like as a mascot. Like it's a Web Gem segment. And so she's dressed up with this giant mascot thing, and we're like celebrating the best Web Gems of the year. And there was a cake there. Jayhay might be able to remind me why the cake was there. I have no idea. But purely Laurel and Hardy, Dallas grabs the cake and smashes the mascot in the face. And it's one of the great laughs of my life, whether on camera or off. It was so great. We replayed it the next day, and they're mocking me for my 2-inch vertical because I was just howling, pumping my fist like the ultimate hype man. Like, yes, just smashing Krista in the face wearing a mascot costume. One of the great laughs of my life, on air or off air. Today we'd be suspended, taken off the air. Like Krista still hasn't recovered, concussed, but I was crying. I go, only Dallas Braden would think to do that. The best.
I felt so terrible because Jared, like you said, it's Krista. I mean, small girl. She's in this Web Gym Jimmy outfit, and I hammer her, and I don't know like where her face is in conjunction to the costume, and I hit her square in the nose.
She was pissed.
I may have broken her nose. I don't know. But side note, I felt so bad. I was like, Krista, like, here's a spa treatment. Like, I like everything that the spa offers. Please go do. Like, I if it's surgery, I'll pay for that. I am so.
This guy's just trying to avoid a lawsuit at this point. Like, what will make you happy?
But yeah, Adnan, I tell you that I replay your reaction in my head over and over because it was unfiltered, pure, unadulterated joy from you. Yeah. Yes!
Like I want to recreate this so much. Like I feel like Jared's missing out not being there as part of this experience. I'm like,
is there video of this?
We need to find video of this. Jay might be able to track it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm so deliriously happy. One of my favorite moments of my life.
And that's the best was the juxtaposition of your absolute cackling laughter with us finding out later that like she wasn't like I'm going to HR mad, but she was like, you got me like right in the face. Like, it was like a hard hit. And and didn't know it was coming either, by the way. So it's not like there was like a bracing going on. It was just like,
it's like when you're busting somebody's chops, friendly taunting, and then you make one joke to a person's like, actually didn't find that one funny. And you go, no, of course I know it's not. No, it was actually inappropriate. It's totally on us. Dallas is like, no, you're right. I'm a raging asshole. Please, whatever it needs to, I take it all back.
What was the mascot?
Web Gem Jimmy.
Web Gem Jimmy.
Yeah, it's a giant glove. It's a giant glove with eyeballs and, like, but you don't know where the person inside, like their face could be here, their face could be, like, you don't know where they're at.
Jared, it's live television. Like, Dallas, to me, that inspired us to, and I'm talking, he fucking hammered that thing. I'm like, yeah! It was so awesome. If you're going to check with somebody, like, hey, can I just, like, throw this cake for 10? Like, kind of throw it in my face. He fucking grabbed that thing and just hammered it. I'm like, yeah! It was so awesome.
Yeah, you could tell that Adnan had played that potentially happening over in his head time and time. It was like, shit, it's happening. It is happening. Yes!
Do it.
Felt great about it. Felt great.
It was awesome.
Hey, buddy, how has your off season been? How have the baseball moves sort of tickled your fancy? Because I know you have got to be excited about what's brewing in the sixth. For those who don't know,
no question,
Adnan, a massive Blue Jays fan from the motherland, as you and I know.
I got to tell that story. No, Jared, this is now the third greatest Dallas Braden story. Okay. Greg Colley, our producer.
Shout him out. I hear from him almost all the time.
Colley's the best. Avid fan of yours, Red Sox guy. All the rest of it. Yeah, exactly. Avid Red Sox fan. And one of the funniest people you'll ever meet. And also a guy who can bust chops with the best of them. Colley and I are just shooting the breeze. He's like, where are you going next week? And I said, I'm going back home, back to the homeland. He's like, oh, yeah. And he knows I'm Canadian. So I said, I'm going back to Toronto. I'm like, oh, okay. But I didn't see the Toronto part. He knows I'm Canadian. But Dallas happened to be sitting there. I was like, oh, back to the homeland, back to Toronto. I was like, oh, cool. So the next day, maybe next week, Ravitch is talking like, oh, where's Adnan at? And like, no, is he off today? Dallas says, yeah, he's back in the homeland. And Ravitch's like, what? He's like, yeah, he's back in Pakistan. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I heard him say he went back to the homeland. He's Pakistani. Hey, he's back in Pakistan. Colley's like, he's fucking Canadian. Like, he's in Toronto. Like, he's check his Twitter. Like, he's literally at Tim Hortons right now.
Yeah. Guy's Canadian.
I was like, no. I'm pretty sure he's Pakistani. Like, I can confirm that. Like, what do you mean?
He said very specifically because they're back to the homeland.
Because they're like, he's going to be back in a few days. I was like, few days? It takes a fucking week to get there. What are you talking about? Few days? Oh, God. Yeah, it was incredible. Incredible. But the homeland.
But Colley will absolutely text me the next day. Going back to the homeland for the holidays? I'm like, yep. Dallas Braden, first class flight to Pakistan. Should be there in about 18 hours. Go ahead.
How about them Jays? Huh? How about them Jays?
Well, first off, I want to say the winter meetings, which I don't know if Jared was there. I'm sure he was. God,
nope.
That first day was one of the worst experiences of my life. I said, there's literally nothing happening. And there's nothing worse, as you guys know, than trying to just make up content when there's literally nothing happening. Our Eagles that night, Jay, were, as you know, on TV. And they're like, you're on call with Rick Hahn. I'm like, okay, well, I want to watch the Eagles game. But they go, honestly, if anything of consequence happens, you're coming in there. We have to justify that we're even here. So I was like, God, like the winter meetings are not what they once were. I get it. Can somebody please sign? Day 2, thank heavens for Edwin Diaz. Everyone's bemoaning the Dodgers. I go, no, thank God. The Dodgers did something. $69 million. Let's go. Go get Edwin Diaz. I'm absolutely in favor of this move. And then thankfully, day 3, 2 minutes before going live on air, Alonso goes to Orioles, and I'm sitting next to Ron Darling, who, of course, calls half the Mets games. So, thankfully, I'm glad the Mets offseason, which has been dreadful for most of their fans, was great news for all of us at MLB Network. As far as the Jays are concerned, Dallas, I'm still, riding the highs and lows, of course, of Game 7. Tom Verducci and Bob Costas did like a breakdown just of Game 7. And Verducci's like, oh, you got to watch it. I go, I think I'm good. He's like, oh, I think I lived it. I've seen it. Like, I don't want to go watch Isaiah Kiner-Falefa being thrown at home again. I don't need to see Andy Bias again. Robbie Ernie Clement. Like, I've lived it. He's like, no, but there's some nuances you may have missed. No, I've seen them all. I don't know. And then Joel Sherman's like, if it was a fight, the Jays would have won 10-8. That's how they would have scored it. I go, well, it's not a fight. It's baseball, and they lost. So let's just move on. Dylan Cease.
Let's just move on.
Yeah. Dylan Cease, 7 for 210. I love it, man. It's either here or Framber as the best free agent pitchers available. And Cease has been highly durable. 2022 and 2024, both outstanding seasons. Obviously, high whiff rate. This past year, I know he had a bloated ERA. I know you're going NL to AL, but I'll say that's just an aberration. He'll be with Pete Walker, part of a good rotation. And the important thing is, you guys know, Gossman is up after this year, and Bieber's in a 1-year deal. So, like, both those guys could be gone. Barrios has clearly fallen out of favor. I believe they're shopping him. So this could be a rotation where it's Dylan Cease, Trey Savage, and then we'll figure it out a couple of years from now. So, love the Cease signing. While I was there, Dallas talked to Ross Atkins, the Jays GM. I mean, seriously, just let me know where we're at here with Bo. Like, just, if you need me to make a call, like, I can help you that pitch, man. I know Tony Soprano did a pitch for LeBron trying to get him to the Knicks. If you need me to send a video to Bo, like, come back to the Six, whatever you need. And we're laughing. And afterwards, he didn't disclose this, but Sean Casey, who knows the Blue Jays brain trust pretty well, was like, I just think they're higher on Kyle Tucker than Bo Bichette. And I said, why is that? Like, there's like 5 guys that can hit 300 and get 180, 185 hits, and Bo Bichette's one of them. Now, I got all your defensive metrics, and all the metrics say Suggs at shortstop. I got it. He can play shortstop for 2 years and go play second base. All good. But my man was out all playoffs. He comes back, and then in Game 7, it's a huge home run, hit 375 in the World Series. Like, he's still a legit, really good player. He's going to get $200 million somewhere. He said, yeah, but I just the Jays' feeling is they're higher on Tucker than Bichette. I said, well, why not sign both of them? Hey, the Yankees aren't spending. Let's go, Jays. Let's go back to the days of my youth when the Blue Jays were the epicenter of the baseball spending world. You need David Cohn? We'll go get David Cohn. You want Dave Winfield? We'll go get Dave Winfield. Paul Molitor? Whatever you need. So I'd love to see a scenario where Tucker gets signed along with Bichette, but just the vibe that I'm getting is Cease was great. Rogers, not sleeping on my man, throwing 84 miles an hour from a 530 arm slot. But I think it'll be Tucker over Bichette. But either way, I'd be thrilled. As you guys know, it's one thing when your team makes it, but when you fall so distressingly short, you got to keep pushing. And the Jays at least are pushing, which I love to see.
That was going to be my follow-up quickly, just because you brought it up about your childhood. In your heart of hearts, at any point between then and now, did you think that the Jays would be reclaiming sort of that status as, if not the biggest spender in the league, then right at the top of the American League?
No, but it's a great question, Jay. JP Ricciardi was the Jays GM for years, and when I was at ESPN...
Former colleague.
Correct. And I happened to see him at ESPN. I'm like, hey, and I don't think you remember my name, but you remember the face. Not a lot of guys going back to the homeland, hanging out in Toronto. So I'm like, hi, JP, nice to see you. And I said, hey, I got to ask you a question. He goes, yeah. And this is like a complete dick move, but I'm sure we've all been there. I'm like, hey, listen, what do you think of that Vernon Wells contract? And he kind of laughs. I got 120, 130 million, 8 years ago. What are we doing? And he kind of laughs and he goes, listen, he was coming off a big year. I go, no, I remember 330 home runs, 100 RBIs, but like Vernon, 130 million, JP. This is why you're sitting next to me here getting a coffee, but it's doing ESPN News. And he was, listen, you know this as well as I do. The Jays, if they wanted to, could be the Yankees. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you're from there. You understand that Rogers runs the country. It is AT&T and all these telecommunication companies, Verizon, all of them together in one. I was like, yeah. He goes, they could spend and be the biggest spender in the country, but they choose not to. So when I was running the team, it's like, hey, we're kind of running this as a mid-market team. But you and I both know the Blue Jays could be that team again, and they once were. So to answer your question, Jay, I didn't think this was coming. I was like, well, that was a time that was the case in the early 90s. Paul Beeson, who famously wore dress shoes but no socks. To this day, apparently, still not wearing socks. Sam Plesac can confirm. But he'd have the stogie, and he just would sign whatever guys he wanted, would spend the money. They had 4 million fans. Skydom was a brand new, shiny toy, and it was great. So to see this kind of reclaimed, it was very nostalgic. And the amount of people that said to me, whether it was my mom and my dad or my cousins were like, I'm not a big baseball fan, but I am just riveted by this team. Like, I'm not missing an inning. I said, well, it's great all along. Baseball never stopped being great. You just dropped off because the team wasn't as good. But welcome back, and please do stay on the bandwagon, and we'll take your money and attention. And it was a hell of a run. And I think part of this Jays team was they're just a really likable team. Like, to me, it was typified in many ways by Ernie Clement. Like, if you see Ernie Clement, you go, this guy's like a modern-day Mark Lemke. He should not be getting this many hits. He should not be this guy who was so perennially clutch. And yes, Vlad was great, and Springer had his big moments, and Trey Savage, Star is Born. But, like, in many ways, people will look back, they go, that Ernie Clement guy, man, like, that guy's awesome. Like, that's why people love the Blue Jays.
I watched Ernie Clement kick the shit out of us, and I was just like, my God, like this guy's hitting 700 this series. Like, he hit 1,000 against us throughout the entire season, and it was really fun to watch him. And I know you don't want to hear this, Adnan, but I can say I feel like that Blue Jays team, the way things unfolded, that would make for great cinema. Yes. And I think that's a beautiful segue into a conversation that we want to have with you, because Jayhay touched on it. Cinephile. That's something that I always took away from being in the green room with you, and even on stage with you on set, is your love, your adoration for film, for cinema, whether it's foreign film, slapstick comedy, like just every genre you are entrenched in. And I think it's apropos during Christmas time to get your take. I'm sure you've been hit with this a million times already because of what you do and your love. But do you have a ranking? I don't want to force you into like a top 3, top 5, but what is playing in the Virk household in terms of Christmas movies? What's one that just, boom, this has got to be on the tube for Christmas? Because for me, it's A Christmas Story that's on RTV. But for you, the man of substance here, what is it?
I appreciate the kind words. It's funny. There's always a few that I go back to. One of them, and you kind of nodded this with my love of foreign films and indie movies and non-conventional choices. There's this great film called 29th Street, which years ago, I become good friends with Ben Lyons. We covered the Oscars for a couple of years, as you guys know. And Ben's dad, Jeffrey Lyons, because as a kid, and still to this day, I'm obsessed with blurbs. It was always my dream as a kid. It wasn't to play second base for the Blue Jays or to meet Willie Upshaw. It was like, I want to be a blurb writer for these movies. Right. And I said, one of the greatest blurbs ever is the movie 29th Street, which came out in 1991. It's this rather unheralded movie from a director named George Gallo, who I got to interview on Cinephile a few years ago. I told him what a huge fan I am of the movie, and he was so touched. But the blurb read, "It's a Wonderful Life meets Goodfellas." And I was like, wow, like what a great blurb. Like, I got to watch this movie. And it's unbelievable. It's a movie about a guy named Frank Pesh, real life character, Anthony LaPaglia, and picture like a Goodfellas type, setting, Italian-American in New York. Danny Aiello is his father, wife beater screaming at him, the sauce, all the rest of it. But he ends up winning a lottery ticket. And then all this drama unfolds, and it definitely has a great Christmas spirit. It's one that not enough people have seen, but it's great around the holidays, and I always encourage people to check it out. It's called 29th Street. I do think It's a Wonderful Life is a classic. Jimmy Stewart's fantastic, although it's been harmed by the movie Spawn. Because in the movie Spawn, John Leguizamo, if you remember, plays
yes,
that fat little guy, whatever he's called.
Oh I can't remember electric character, though.
Oh my God, he's unbelievable. And I talked to Todd McFarlane, who created Spawn. I talked to him on my hockey podcast because McFarlane's a big hockey guy. And I said, that character is so repellent. He's like, yeah. He said, but Leguizamo is so great. He goes, he's a small guy, but we put him in like his fat suit and stuff. But there's this one scene where he's imitating Jimmy Stewart, and he says something to the effect of like, every time I fart, like an angel gets his wings. It's like a crappy Jimmy Stewart impression. But now when I watch It's a Wonderful Life, I'm thinking of John Leguizamo from Spawn doing a crappy impression. But what people forget about It's a Wonderful Life is it's a really dark movie. Like George Billy at one point is thinking of killing himself and then realizes, no, it's important to live, and et cetera, and et cetera. But the one that I love, and I know Jayhay's going to be with me on this one, when Billy Bob Thornton came to ESPN.
Oh, yes.
All he wanted to do was talk to me about baseball. He is a diehard St. Louis Cardinals fan. And as he said, and this is like certainly a baseball fan of a certain era. When I asked him, what did you want to do when you grew up? He goes, I wanted to be a pitcher. He goes, I was a junk baller, which is just a great term. I'm like, yeah, that probably died about 1973, but it's a great term. I was a junk baller. I'm like, yeah, off-speed stuff. I got you. Not much of a hater, not much of a four-seamer on Billy Bob growing up in Arkansas. But he was a junk baller. And I said, because I love the Cardinals, I love music, but I really got into acting. And he met Billy Wilder, who's one of the great directors of all time. And Billy Wilder, who made Sunset Boulevard, which is one of my favorite movies, he met Billy Bob Thornton when he was a waiter at a party. And he said, "What do you want to be an actor?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got to write your own scripts." Billy Bob's like, "Why?" This is a great story. He goes, "You're too ugly to be a leading man, but you're like more good looking than a character actor." So you should just write your own scripts. And he goes, I never forgot that advice. And he was right. Like I wasn't, like I'm not going to be a conventional star. But once I made Sling Blade, out of fried chicken and tater, he became a leading man who was dating Angelina Jolie. So like it all worked out backwards. But back to my story. What was it about? Billy Wilder. Yes, Bad Santa is the answer, by the way.
Yes.
Because the movie was so great because I asked Billy about Thornton. I said, what's so great about it? He goes, it's such an antidote to the overly syrupy, overly sentimental Christmas movies. He says, exactly. And he goes, people say, oh, why did you make this movie? Do you hate them? I go, no, I love those movies, but watch them in succession. So I really think the way to do it is watch It's a Wonderful Life and then watch Bad Santa or Miracle on 34th Street. You knock them both out together and it's a hysterical, deadly concoction. But I absolutely love it. I think it's a hysterical movie. John Ritter, rest in peace. Bernie Mac, rest in peace. Couple of comedy legends. But Billy Bob is just go for broke hysterical, playing a drunken, lascivious Santa who is just a bad dude, but really, really funny. I love that movie.
I love Bad Santa.
Jay is muted. Jay is muted. This is an ongoing battle for Jayhay. Adnan is. It sounds like we got him back.
I think. No, I bet you. Can I guess he's got to mute it while the kids are in the background? Then he has to unmute himself.
Yeah, we got you.
So, just since you brought up Bad Santa, because that's like a top 5 movie for me, let alone Christmas movie. Yes. I think actually, first of all, John Ritter. That's like an iconic performance. I don't know dick about movies in general, you know that, but like. That is an iconic performance for me as a supporting actor. Like every line he delivers is absolutely pitch perfect. But I think actually what brings that, in terms of the syrupy stuff, what brings that movie back and nails it is the fact that you do feel like good or decent at the end of the movie, right? It gives you like a little bit of feel good in the relationship between Billy Bob and the kid. And it's like, he goes away like, shit happens when you party naked or whatever. And it's like, you're like, oh, you feel good about the whole thing at the end, even though you just watch like a half a dozen of the most detestable people on the planet interact throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, Thurman Merman. There's actually one great scene as well, to your point. Like, it actually works in a filmmaking level. There's this great shot, the camera's dollying in, and it's softly lit. And Billy Bob saying, he's like, man, I've been thinking about my life, but I beat up some kids today, and I really think I'm starting to turn things around. And it's so perfectly delivered. And the little guy's just like, you need some serious help. The way he delivers, like, I beat up some kids today, and really think I'm turning things around. It's so perfectly delivered. It's the droll delivery. And Jayhay's right. You can't be a prick the entire time. Like, he has to have some redeemable qualities, just enough to make him a guy worth rooting for. But
just enough.
Yeah, it's hysterical. John Ritter, you're right. John Ritter, when the scene when they're talking about like anal sex being had, the way that he just squints and stuff, because Billy Bob's like hammering this chick. He's like, you're not going to shit right for a week. And John Ritter has to hear these noises. He's just so disgusted. It was great.
You can hear him squirm. Like you can hear the squirming. It's so good.
It's so good. Oh, that's incredible. Adnan, hey, you've been extremely gracious with your time, man. We appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us. As far as Cinephile goes, what do we have on deck? What do you have in store? We know that you've got a long roster, a huge list of incredible guests. What do you have up the sleeve?
I was about to say, just around the holidays, DB, make sure people buy Cinephile the book, which is available wherever books are sold, Amazon.com, Mango.com, for all our Canadian listeners, Amazon.ca. It's great. I get to put together some of my, including Billy Bob Thornton, one of my favorite interviews, Robert De Niro, Mahershala Ali, Margot Robbie, all the great people I've had the pleasure of interviewing. And as you mentioned, some off the beaten path as well. I love Iranian cinema. One of the best movies out right now is called It Was Just an Accident. And maybe, I'm sure Jared knows some independent theater, some foreign film theater in Boston. People can go check it out. It's a brilliant movie. Jafar Panahi's the director. It's my favorite of the year. And Hamnet's a great movie, by the way. People should go see Hamnet. It's about Shakespeare and his wife. It's a tough movie. Bring a three-hanky movie. And, of course, One Battle After Another. One of my favorite movies of the year. P.T. Anderson looks like he'll finally going to win an Oscar for Best Director. There'll Be Blood. I'm looking at the movie poster on my wall. There'll Be Blood, one of my favorite movies. Boogie Nights, Magnolia, and, of course, him and DiCaprio for the first time ever. One Battle After Another. Absolutely fantastic. People should go check it out this holiday season.
Yeah, I took your recommendation. We started we started Knives Out, the last one. We started that last night.
Nice.
Had to turn it off, but yeah, that's going to get finished today. And the one that you mentioned with Leo, that is definitely on the docket. I got to get that one in me as well.
Jared, give me the movie. There's gonna be I like going to these different cities, as DB knows, and find these rep houses, as they call them, the places that don't play first movies. Where's that place in Boston where I would go to go watch independent movies, foreign films, etc.? Do they still exist?
I mean, I would say they have to exist, but the only time that I leave my house to go to Boston is to go to Fenway. My favorite thing is when people will hit me up and be like, "Hey, I'm from Wisconsin. I'm coming to Boston, and we're gonna do a bachelor party. Can you give me a list of things to do when I'm in Boston?" I'm like, "I don't know, dude. Go to Fenway." I was like, "That's the only thing I do." I go to Kowloon, I go to Fenway. You're asking me where to stay in a city where I live. Why would I know anything about the hotels? I live here.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, it's what about the restaurants? Kowloon. That's all we got. Yeah, if I'm going outside, it's to go to a baseball game. That's it.
Yeah, our dear friend Alex Corey texted me a couple years ago when he was back home in the 6 in the homeland. He's like, "Oh, where's a good breakfast place downtown?" I go, "I left Toronto 13 years ago. It's changed so much. I have no idea. The keg is still there. Tim Hortons is still there. Good luck."
Yeah.
Stop by.
Yeah, I did ask Alex Cora for a tequila recommendation, and he hooked me up. So, yeah, I think that's the only thing I would ask for a recommendation about.
My man does like his tequila. Last year's winter meetings, me and Sean Casey, and I could tell AC did not want to hang, but it was me and Case, so he felt compelled. And then Booney popped by, so now it's a big BBTN reunion. And I remember Cora saying one drink, and I lost track, but I think we're up around one drink. It was around 6 or 7 tequilas by the time he called for the night. But I will say, funny, got a little louder, a little rambunctious, but still close to the best. If I'd started "Hey, so seriously, what happened with Hanley Ramirez?" He would have shut that sucker right down. Still guarded enough to know.
He just would have been "Just trust me. Just trust me."
Yeah, exactly.
Are we doing feud?
Do you have time, Adnan? No. How hard is the 12:15? I want to be respectful.
I got 5 minutes for feud.
Okay. All right. We'll do it another time, or you want?
Yeah, no, we'll do it another time. We don't want to keep him pressed because it could go longer. Okay. Yeah, so I would love to have him available to do it and have fun. Yeah,
100%. Cool. Good call by Dallas. Rather than squeezing it in, let's do it properly another time.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, fellas.
This is great. Appreciate you.
Of course. Happy holidays. Do it again soon.
Yes.
All right, man.
Thank you so much.
Tell the family. Thank you. Hello.
I will. Take care, boys. Thank you.
See you soon. All right. Big thanks to Adnan Virk making his Baseball is Dead debut. I hung back on that one. I know you guys, we work together on LB Network. I love his work. But you guys have history. I was like, I'm just going to let the chemistry flow here.
I feel like we barely touched it too, despite talking almost exclusively about it for 30 minutes. I hadn't thought about the WebGem Jimmy Pie incident.
We need to track that video down.
I tried very quickly. I'm going to pursue. I bet Kali has it now that I'm thinking about it. So I'll text him, but I tried on YouTube and it didn't seem to be there, but it's got to be somewhere.
He has it, and he's sent that to me.
Yeah,
a few times, and I'm gonna go back and try to see if I can unearth it. But yeah, it was an epic moment. That's the thing about Adnan is like you said, Jayhay, you feel like you're barely touching on it, and you get an idea of how off the rails shit can go and how quickly that can happen.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, there were times where the last thing that we were talking about in the green room during a baseball prep period was baseball, with every game being played on TV in front of us. The last thing being talked about was baseball. And that's just a testament to the kind of energy that I think Adnan brings to the room, but just the conversation and how much fun. You can see he can go down, so many different avenues and pathways with his interests. And he's just, he's a great listener. He's a great audience. He's fantastic, man. I love me some Virkhorse.
Last thing before we get out of here, Bryce Harper is joining the squad, Dallas. Team USA.
Yep. This was what's that?
It's a Team USA.
Yeah, well, look, you're adding what I told you Nick Kurtz, Bryce Harper. Those were going to be the potential individuals manning first base. Bryce Harper announced whether or not we see Kurtz. You know what? That's not going to be my news. That's not going to be my news to divulge. I'll leave it at that.
I feel like you've already said it, though. What are you talking about?
I'll just repeat what I just said. Whether or not we see Nick Kurtz, is not my news to divulge. I said this very early on, that there was going to be an issue, or that there was going to be a conversation about who was going to play first base. Because how do you tell a guy like Bryce Harper, who wants to play in the WBC and is Bryce fucking Harper, how do you tell him, no, we've got a 23-year-old kid that he's going to go play first base? And it's like, oh, okay, he had a great year, rookie of the year, and that just washes away everything I've done, so I'm no longer needed. Fair enough. You don't want to ruffle those feathers. You don't want to give that impression, do you? Because number one, no, you don't. And number two, you would hate to alienate a player of Bryce Harper's caliber and make him feel like he's not wanted, or that there's somebody better suited for that position. So it was always going to be like you're treading on the edge of a razor, man. Like there's no room to slip one way or the other. And I think if you are erring on the side of caution and erring on the side of respect and due respect to an individual, Bryce Harper would clearly be the decision to make, would clearly be the way to go. Because you could also look at it like this. Nick Kurtz is going to have many opportunities ahead of him to take over for a guy like Bryce Harper, who might one day find himself in a position where he doesn't need to go play for his country, or for whatever reason isn't interested. I don't know that that would ever be the case, but I think Bryce Harper would probably be somebody who, should he get to that point in his career and Nick Kurtz continues on the trajectory that he is, Bryce Harper would say, that's your dude. Like, I've had my time, and I know I can make an impact, but in terms of what is deserved right now, that's your dude. So again, it's not going to be my news to divulge.
Okay.
How about that fucking lineup, though?
Oh my God, it absolutely fornicates. You kidding me? Jared, we're just getting better and better and
you got
better.
Gunnar Henderson playing third?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude's a fucking athlete, but you got.
I mean, Bobby's not moving
homie.
off a short, so
Come on. What do you? Yeah, let's go. Bobby Wood Jr. Like, I mean, he's borderline Captain America as it is.
Who is the captain of that team? Just because
Judge.
Aaron Judge is the captain, is he the captain of Team USA, like officially?
Well, in fairness, he was dude number one on board, was he not? Like,
yeah,
I think we have to give Judge a level of credit here for getting in the door first and being the guy who said, we're doing this. Now, to what extent all these other guys followed or always intended, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know that they've said he is, but to me, he's the answer.
Yeah, there's and look, how many other captains of their team are playing in this are playing on this team?
I mean, you could make the case that Schwarber is the captain of the Phillies.
You could make that case, but is he?
The Yankees are the only team that does captains because they
don't care.
They're
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point. You can call it self-important.
It is. What other fucking like Ryan Sweeney was the captain of the fucking Royals.
What was the letter that Jason Ryan Sweeney? No, he wasn't. Mike Sweeney was.
Yeah.
What was the letter that Jason Varitek wore on his jersey? Because only self-important organizations do this. What was that letter?
Yeah, but he actually was a captain.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Got it. So the idea is you have
the Yankees always have a captain though. The Red Sox don't.
Does Aaron Judge have a C on his chest?
No, because the team won't let them because they're self-important. They don't want to ruin the jersey.
Holy shit! I've never seen. You just swam the IM medley right now. We saw a breaststroke. We saw a backstroke. We saw freestyle.
I'm right because the Yankees, they don't do players' weekend nicknames. They don't put their last names in the back of the jerseys, and they won't put a C on the jersey of the dude that they name the captain. They're
dude,
self-important.
I've been to Yankee Stadium. I see plenty of Yankee jerseys with last names on the back. What are you talking about?
Being the team that wouldn't do the special jerseys, though, the players or the
players weekend.
No. What is the other one I'm talking about?
City Connect. They won't do City Connect jerseys either, Dallas.
Yeah, they don't do the City Connect jerseys because their brand is they don't want to dirty the brand with something else. Now, on a level, I respect that because some of these City Connect jerseys are ass, but it's kind of funny that they're the one team or whatever that's like, no.
Well, you know what? Like, not to get serious about this, but right. This is. I was just on a podcast with Dr. Hitting, I believe, and the conversation came up, and I reminded folks that were listening that there was a day and age, and if we remember, upon inception, baseball teams were called baseball clubs. And the idea was you were part of this club, and that was the club that you were a part of. You were going to play for this club. You were going to play with this club. And when you were done playing, you probably weren't going to be playing for another club. Very few and far between were the moments that ever happened. The idea behind that, I believe, is there's a certain level of representation and a level of branding that comes along with these clubs. You know what you're going to get when you have a certain club roll into town, and holding yourself to a certain standard, in my opinion, should never be something that is scoffed at. That's just how they run things. And it might be different than how you run things or how you want things ran, but that is neither your nor my decision to make. That is the club's decision. So for the Yankees, that has always been a part of their branding, is we don't do this, we don't do that. We hold ourselves / our players to this standard. It's not to say that this standard is better. It's just the standard that they have set for themselves. And I think that in a world where we're always looking for a protagonist and an antagonist, I think there's something to that, where a club rolls into town and there's already a reason why you don't like him just this much. And why? Well, because they don't allow facial hair. That is as silly as it gets, but you know what? It's something that sparks a fire. And for that club, it's just a matter of, hey, we want to present ourselves in this way. And if that means that we don't get this player, well, we're okay with that, because this is the standard we're trying to set and maintain for ourselves. Now, obviously, that has loosened in today's day and age because fans and the outcry for not competing is strong enough where you would hate to think that you are alienating yourself from being as good as you could possibly be simply because somebody chooses to wear a beard or a goatee. So in today's day and age, obviously, things like that are starting to take a back seat, but in inception, the idea was we have a certain brand that we're bringing to town. This is what you can expect. And I think there's something to be said for people wanting to hold themselves, or clubs wanting to hold themselves to a certain standard. That's all. Like the Boston Red Sox being willing to put the actual C on the chest. You know that if you become endeared and are productive and just are able to put together that beautiful recipe of all of that amongst the fans and the front office, because that's what that means, right? Is fans love this dude. The game loves this dude. The front office loves this dude. Everybody loves and respects what this dude's all about. And if you end up with this certain club, that's going to be celebrated. And it's going to come out in the form of a C on your chest. And we're not just handing those out to fucking anybody, pal. You got to earn it. And that's why Veritek having that C fucking means something. That's why Salvador Perez being named the captain for the Royal, like, that's why that means something. That's why Aaron Judge because there's other teams who just don't do that, right? The Athletics don't have a captain. The Rangers, they don't have a captain. Orioles, where's their captain? How about the Mets? They got a captain? They got some guys that are getting paid like captains, but are they the captain? No. So for me, it's always meant something to be able to, or to, I guess, hold yourself to a certain standard, whatever standard that may be.
It's fair, but they're still lame as fuck. And I'm not wrong about that. I'm actually right.
Yeah. I'm right. I'm fucking right.
I am right. Okay. You guys got anything else you want to hit on?
Palehose signed a lefty. Yeah, Palehose, Sean Newcomb.
Sean Newcomb, yeah. Brockton's own, even though he doesn't claim it.
Yeah,
I don't know where he claims. He claims somewhere that's not Brockton. He's from Brockton, and I'm pretty sure has Brockton roots.
Yeah, I wonder. I just saw the blurb come across. I didn't see any details.
They're going to let him start, they said.
That was going to be my question is what that's going to look like, because I mean, he had like when he finished the year fucking strong with the Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Sub 2, like 50 innings, 60 innings, something like that. Like he was slanging it. He was absolutely slinging it. Velo was up too. I mean, Nuke could be an absolute bastard.
Sure.
For the Pale Hose. He could be a fucking dude.
Well, and with the state of their rotation, why the hell not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you were.
The White Sox might fuck around and put together a handful of flyers that just end up selling.
That's what I'm saying. You have the balls to pick the White Sox to win the Central?
Not at this moment. We've still got some time. It's not even Christmas, Jared.
Christmas is soon.
From what I've heard, the offseason is not over.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Jay, you got some nugs for us?
I do. Jeff McNeil, last season, we all know he underwent thoracic outlet surgery. Could explain part of the reason why after September 3rd, he hit 125, 211, 172. That was a 383 OPS in 71 plate appearances. He had an 814 OPS in 391 plate appearances through September 3rd. So if you're looking for optimism, perhaps, on a specific reason for a bounce back, that could be one of them. Jeff McNeil's pulled air rate by season has gone from 13% in 2021 all the way to a career high 26.9% last season. That was the 13th highest such mark in Major League Baseball among qualified batters. That's right. He's on the negative side. I cover everything. His batting average against off-speed pitches has gone from 384 to 346 to 263 to 182 over the last 4 seasons. So he's literally hitting half of what he did against those pitches 3 seasons ago. Other random notes on Jeff McNeil. He cut his strikeout rate from 14% to 12% and raised his walk rate to a career high 10.6% from 24 to 25. His barrel rate was a career high in 25. He had a career low ground ball rate and a career high fly ball rate in 2025. He saw the highest rate of pitches thrown in the zone that he had ever seen at 53.3%, which is quite high. He had a career low chase contact rate and a career low overall swing rate and first pitch swing rate. What those things mean on an individual, maybe nothing, but maybe something. And then lastly, this is an untraditional nug, but it is something that I was motivated to look at after the Munetaka Murakami signing and us talking about, kind of the off-field impact and why a team would make this signing given all of the questions. This morning, I looked up the White Sox official team account posts on X and Twitter this offseason before and since the Murakami signing. The White Sox had made 65 Twitter posts on this offseason prior to the signing. Those generated a combined 36,000 likes and 4.1 million impressions. As of, I don't know if they posted since, but as of a couple of hours ago, they had made 14 posts. So 1/5 the posts since Murakami signed. And obviously these are all about Murakami. 181,000 likes, so 5x, and 15.9 million impressions, which is 4x the impressions. So, how that translates to exact dollars, that's for someone else to figure out, of course, but you're already seeing the incredible social media impact that the signing has had. And again, given all the general conversation that's occurring on social and outside of it, you would expect to see some of that translate to the box office as well. So again, way to go, buddy. As you would expect, some pretty impressive numbers there, and those are the nugs.
I think that's crazy, man. Like, because I said it yesterday when we were talking, I was like, anybody else get the vibe that the White Sox are just like freewheeling on the twit box? Like they are just firing away. And lo and behold, Jayhay unearths it. And then I said this morning, like, imagine being able to sign your franchise player for $34 million over 2 years. Like that's crazy.
They had one post, their pinned post on Murakami, basically announcing the signing, generated more impressions and likes than all of their posts combined prior to signing Murakami this offseason.
I mean, you got to believe that that's going to do something for him, and that's got to be part of the thought process for the decision makers, man.
I've heard more from White Sox fans over the last 48 hours than I had from the start of the 2025 season up until before 48 hours ago.
Does it feel like we're about to get like reintroduced to the White Sox fan base personality? Like whatever whatever that may be. Like, you know how we get vibes from the Padres fans. We know how Mets fans are. We've got a pretty good idea of how Red Sox, Yankees fans, like we've got a good idea of how these fan bases think and operate and feel about their team at any given time, whether it be in the face of success or unfortunate failure. But it feels like the White Sox are now might be in a spot where they get to bring some of these fans out of the woodwork, and we're gonna get to meet their personnel. Like, have they been cryogenically frozen for 100 years, and now they're going to be waking up?
I think it ushers in a new era of White Sox fandom, where it's like people who may never have watched baseball prior to that, or if there's some buzz around the product, and then it's like, all right, yeah, I'll check this out. And they come. I mean, I'm not expecting the White Sox to put a good product on the field, but I am expecting Murakami to be a fan favorite that the fan base embraces, is at the very least, where it's like, yeah, we might suck, but like we can go to a game, watch Murakami pop a couple dingers, and then we can go home.
It literally gives them something to watch.
Yeah,
like that's like that should be the bare minimum as a fan, and they had not provided that really over the last couple of seasons, and now they have potentially provided that, and that excitement alone, I think, is enough for a lot of fans to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, or see that there is an end, and that they've turned a little bit of a corner in terms of, we've probably seen the absolute worst, least watchable White Sox baseball. That's behind us now.
Yeah, I want them to feel like they could go out and buy the jersey. I know fans would like a little longer runway outside of a 2-year deal. Like maybe if it was a 4 or 5 year piece, they feel more compelled to go buy the jersey. But maybe this is what they need. Maybe you know what? To hell with your Cubs jersey. Here's my Murakami jersey. I'm rolling. And the South Side just starts to blossom.
Dallas, you got any final thoughts?
I want to thank some folks who have reached out, as I kind of alluded to earlier in the month about the holidays being a rough time. There have been some folks that have taken me up on that, and thank you. Not that I'm making an impact whatsoever. I've just tried to be an ear to listen, and it sounds like that the holidays are, I don't want to say turning around, but are maybe a little brighter than they anticipated after kind of getting some things off your chest. So again, I'm only one person. There's plenty of people I know in your lives that would love to hear from you. Pick up the phone. Call somebody that you haven't talked to in a while. Wish them a Merry Christmas. Wish them a happy holiday. I think it's very therapeutic for individuals. So just keep it going. And I would wish everybody to have the same Christmas that I want to have, which is a Merry Christmas.
Well said. All right. Yeah. Obviously, no all-time MLB rewatch this week with Christmas Eve and Christmas. You got your 2 episodes this week, and the plan is to resume next week. I don't know how I'm going to make that work because I'll be on vacation, but I'll probably just take a laptop, figure it out. We'll do something. But either way, thank everyone for tuning in. And hope you all enjoy the holidays, time with your family, and we'll reconvene next week for more BID content.
Wow.